Seamheads, welcome to the Giants Fanfest Warmup Show.
Upper deck, a monstrous three-run homer off the bat of Rafi Devers.
Here's your host, Bill Lasky.
Welcome to the third stop for the San Francisco Giants Fan Fest, and we are in Sacramento, California today. And boy, oh boy, what a great array of players, advisors, Lucille's even here, and we're here to warm you up before the gates open at 12 o'clock right here at Sutter Health Ballpark. Of course, it's home of the Sacramento Rivercats. My name is Bill Lasky. I'll be the host of the show for the next couple hours. Got a great show lined up. But let's look at the list of players and advisors. And, of course, the first one is Dusty Baker. He'll be up here, of course, Sacramento owned. He is in the Sacramento Hall of Fame. What a great career, 19 years as a player, and then he ended up managing 5 different teams, 2,183 wins on his way to the Hall of Fame. And now players up here. What a great array of players. Willie Adames, the 30-year-old, had a great year last year, started off slow, ended up getting 30 home runs, 87 RBIs, 22 doubles, just a good all-around first year for Willie Adames. Robbie Ray also was here, had a good year last year. First year back from Tommy John. He was 11-8 with a 3.6 earned run average. No doubt the number 2 starter in this 5-man rotation. Elliot Ramos here, the 26-year-old National League All-Star, of course, in 2024. Had 21 home runs last year, 159 hits, 256. He'll be your starting left fielder this year. And then Jose Butto, of course, the Mets traded him for Tyler Rogers, along with Blade Tidwell and Drew Gilbert. He really pitched pretty well for the Giants. Jose Butto coming over from the Mets. Of course, he was with the Mets. He was 3-2 with a 3.6 earned run average, 34 games, 47 innings for the Giants. He was in 21 games, 20 innings pitched, 2-1 with a 4.5 earned run average. A good role for him in the bullpen this year as he starts out in the orange and black. Last player, Matt Gage, a left-hander coming over from the Tigers, did really through well for the Giants. 27 games, 25 and a third innings, giving up 28 hits. And from one time, July 16th through August 30th, 18 games he pitched without giving up an earned run toward the end of the year. Got a little tired, but he's a big, big plus as a left-hander out of the bullpen. So you got Dusty Baker, Willie Adames, Robbie Ray, Elliot Ramos, Jose Butto, Matt Gage, and, of course, the Hall of Famer, the mascot Hall of Fame, Lucille, will be up here also. Gates open at 12 o'clock till 3 o'clock. A lot of autographs, a Q&A stage, ticket offers, face painting for the kids, and you got to come out. What a beautiful day as the fog is starting to clear out here in Sacramento. The weather is going to be nice and warm. And, of course, we are spoiled here on the West Coast. Beautiful weather this week. And, of course, you start looking. February 10th, pitchers and catchers will be arriving in Scottsdale. February 15th, the full squad will be there. Tony Vitello and his coaching staff will welcome them. And then on February 21st, the first preseason game, it will be spring training baseball. And they will be going to Peoria to play the Seattle Mariners. The first home game right after that on 12/22, a Sunday at Scottsdale Stadium, where the Giants will entertain the Chicago Cubs. My name's Bill Lasky. We're going to take a quick break. Got a great show lined up. Alan Keano is going to join me. He is the Sacramento Rivercat pitching coach. Of course, I love talking pitching. He will join me about talking about some of these young pitchers that have a chance to maybe break this team out of spring training. Then I sit down, and we're going to talk to Gregor Blanco. One of the good outfielders the Giants have had. And, of course, we remember his great catch on the Matt Cain perfect game. We're going to talk defense. Of course, yesterday Buster Posey had a press conference saying that Harrison Bader will be the starting center fielder and Jung-Hoo Lee will go to right field and Elliot Ramos will be in left field. So we're going to talk about Gregor, about changes in the outfield and what a couple adjustments that they're going to have to make in making this work for the San Francisco Giants. And last, my good friend Mark Abanias. We're going to talk about the schedule and a couple things that are needed on this Giants roster before spring training. And we'll see what Mark has to talk about with Tony Vitello and his coaching staff. All coming up right here on KNBR as we take a quick break. Come back with more right here in Sacramento, California for the Warmup Show, the third stop of the San Francisco Giants Fanfest. Right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
KNBR, the sports leader.
Adames hitting leadoff today. 29 home runs on the year, stands in.
McDade Brown. There's a swing and a high drive. Deep center field, way back there. Number 30. Adios, pelota. It's the third time in Willie Adames' career to hit 30 home runs in a season, and he does not wait around. The first pitch he sees, he launches over the center field wall. Wow, what a moment.
Back to the Giants Fanfest warm-up show with Bill Lasky on the Sports Leader.
Welcome back to the warm-up show. Come on down to Sacramento. We're having a fan fest today, the third one for the San Francisco Giants before spring training starts in 10 days. Pitchers and catchers report in Scottsdale February 10th, the full squad February 15th, and the 2026 San Francisco Giants baseball season is upon us. Boy, exciting times. Come on down to Sacramento. It's free admission, free parking. Come join the fun. It's going to open the gates at noon. A good array of players. As you just heard John Miller talk about Willie Adames, his 30th home run, something that hasn't had done since Barry Bonds did it. And it's a feat more and more players want to get into, so let's hope Willie Adames continues to do that. A tough start for him last year, but he ended up kicking it in the second half of the year. 87 RBIs on those 30 home runs. And you start looking at what he did, 158 games he played, 16 errors at over 970% fielding. I thought his defense got better as the season got going. Of course, a new year, his first year on a big contract, playing next to the Gold Glove, Platinum Gold Glove winner, Matt Chapman. They'll be on the left-hand side. And all the different things that they're talking about, Buster Posey, about improving defense. That was one of the major things he said in his press conference yesterday as Harrison Bader signed his 2-year contract. And he said that he wants to make the outfield better. He wants the defense to be shining. He wants those plays to happen. Well, we know a little bit about Harrison Bader. 2021, he did win a Gold Glove in center field for St. Louis Cardinals, and he's had a very good defensive career. When you start looking at 9 years in the big leagues and what he's done in center field, he's also played left field and right field. But when you look at what the Giants can do now by putting Jung-Hoo Lee in right field, he had 6 errors in center field last year. Elliot Ramos was a little problem in left field. He had 9 errors in left field. And I think what it's going to do is make both those corners get a little better. Jung-Hoo Lee's going to have to get accustomed to the ballpark. He's going to have to get accustomed to the bricks in the corner, a lot of different things. But he's got a strong enough arm to play right field, and I think that's one of the things you have to justify in a move like that. Now, Harrison Bader, of course, he has a Gold Glove, and it tells you a lot right there. The chances he takes, the risk he takes. He always does the Superman dives. He is an aggressive center fielder, and I think that was one of the main things why the Giants wanted to get there. He wanted to make that defense better. When you look at what happened last year, the Giants had 96 errors. They were 23rd out of 30 teams in defense, a .984 fielding percentage. Not too good, and I think that's what they want to improve on. And when you start looking at ground ball pitchers like Logan Webb, that's the guy you want on the mound. But at the same time, you got some fly ball guys. You got a Robbie Ray. You got a Landon Roop, also gets ground balls. You also have a couple new pitchers coming in. But you want to start in the outfield. I think that's why Buster Posey went out and got Harrison Bader. They were looking at other outfielders, but I think he was the one that had the opportunity and the signing that he had for 2 years at $20 million. It was a good amount of money, but at the same time, I thought it was a good move by the San Francisco Giants to strengthen the outfield. Now, of course, you start looking around like Luis Matos. What is he going to do? He's out of options. You look at Drew Gilbert, another outfielder they picked up from the Mets. He's out of options. And then you look at Gerard Encarnacion. Where are these 3 guys going to fit in? Who's going to be the 4th outfielder? Could Encarnacion be the DH? A lot of questions coming down to Tony Vitello when you start looking at outfield and outfield defense. And what are your strengths on the bench? I think these are all things that Buster Posey's looking at, as well as the coaching staff. A lot of things they got to separate when it all starts on February 10th when pitchers and catchers connect, and that's going to be in a couple weeks. Other players today, I really love to see it, is Robbie Ray. Robbie Ray had a sensational year last year. When you start looking at his first full year from Tommy John, and it does matter. You go through a little bit ups and downs when you come back. You're trying to feel the pitch. You're trying to feel the ball coming out of your hands. The ultra nerve in your elbow really plays a lot with different pitches. The slider, the curveball, even the fastball. And last year, I thought his command was outstanding. He got linked in games, if you remember some of the games. Also, don't forget, he was a Cy Young winner in 2021 with the Arizona Diamondbacks, a two-time All-Star, 73 walks, 186 strikeouts. When you look at his numbers, 32 games start, and I think that's a good number right there to dole off of. 182 in the third innings, 148 hits. So you start looking at what he can do, how he can plant that number 2 seed in that rotation right behind Logan Webb and be that nice 1-2 combination as they were last year. If you remember some of the games, July 3rd against Arizona had a no-hitter going until the 9th inning, ended up giving him a couple hits and a couple runs, ended up winning that game, had 7 strikeouts. And you remember what happened in the White Sox game. He pitched really well against the Chicago White Sox, ended up losing that game 1-0, went linked in that game. He's 34 years old. He'll be 34 May 6th. And so we'll start looking at a little length of what they can do with Robbie Ray. The other player that I'm really looking forward to having a good year this year is Elliot Ramos. Elliot will be the left fielder again this year. Led off last year. We'll see what Tony does to see if he'll be your leadoff hitter or if Jung-Hoo Lee jumps back in that first spot in the lineup. Elliott had a good year. Of course, he was a National League All-Star in 2024. 21 home runs, hit over 255, 159 hits, 69 RBIs. A solid year on the offensive side, 24 doubles. Then you got to look at the outfield, and this is where he has to improve on. 9 errors, a 970 fielding percentage, things that he wanted to improve on in winter ball, things that he wanted to get better on. The first step, how to jump, the balls that are in the gap. Where is he going to take that break? How is he going to get to those balls down the line? He's got left field. He's just got to get better at it. Aggressive, yes, but being a little sure of himself. He came in on a couple balls last year, made some nice catches on those balls coming in, but I think his defense got to be better. When you put a guy like Harrison Bader in center field, it does shine. It does help your corners because now you have an experienced center fielder in center field that can make those balls in the gap and hit those balls in the gap. That's what Bader brings to this Giants offense, as well as defense, I should say. The defense part of Harrison Bader is what I'm waiting for to see. And for Buster Posey to come out yesterday and say he is my starting center field. And he said, Tony, Buster, talk to Jung-Hoo Lee, and he was 100% fine going to right field. He did play right field in Korea for many years, but he was mostly a center fielder. This is going to be a good test. Now, when you look at what the Giants can do, at Papago Park, they have 8 fields, a gorgeous minor league complex for the San Francisco Giants. And they have a field that's cut, just like Oracle Park, of right field, same dimensions. And, you know, it's to a point where he can go, Jung-Hoo Lee can go there and work off different angles and work off different ways to improve before he gets back to Oracle Park. This is something that the Giants have done at Papago. They're making the fields identical. And I think this is a big plus when you're trying to make changes like this. Same thing with Harrison Bader, getting out in center field, getting comfortable playing every day. You look at what he did last year. Of course, he started his career with St. Louis, got drafted. But then last year he played with Minnesota and Philadelphia. Minnesota, 271 at-bats, hit pretty well, 258, 70 hits. Then he went to Philadelphia on a trade, ended up hitting really well, 305. He was the 7th best in Major League Baseball since August 1st. 305, 16 RBIs, 54 hits. And you start looking at his overall numbers for last year, very good numbers, 277 altogether, 17 home runs, 54 RBIs. And he signs a 2-year contract. 31 years old, still got a lot of life in those legs. He's a gamer, no question. And I keep talking about having that gold glove in 2021. It does matter. It really does with the confidence factor of your pitching staff and your 2 corner outfielders. I think Buster did the right thing by signing Harrison Bader to see if he can put that good defense in center field with Elliott and Jung-Hoo Lee in right and left. All right, we're talking today. Of course, we are in Sacramento. It is Fanfest. The gates will be open here at noon, 12 o'clock. Come on down, free admission, free parking. And again, the host of players that will be out here is just a fantastic group. And, of course, my good friend Dusty Baker, the advisor of the San Francisco Giants, will be there. I call him Mr. Sacramento. Of course, he's in the Sacramento Hall of Fame. 5 teams he managed, 81-83 wins. You're talking about a guy that's done extremely well as a manager. When you're looking at Dusty, number 8 overall, Connie Mack with 3,731 wins. Tony La Russa, 2,884 wins. John McGraw, 2,763 wins. Then comes Bobby Cox, 2,504. Joe Torre, 23-26. Then comes Bruce Bochy with 2,252. Sparky Anderson, 2,194. And here's my buddy, Dusty Baker, at 2,183. Number 8 all-time wins as a manager, of course, a World Series champion. 19 years as a player Dusty played. Dusty also was a teammate of mine in San Francisco Giants, a 2-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champ. One with the LA Dodgers in 1981 and also a manager in 2022. Gold Glove winner, 2-time Silver Slugger, 3-time National League Manager of the Year. Dusty Baker. Get up there and say hello to my buddy, man. He'll be out here later this afternoon. Just a good man all around. Willie Adames, Robbie Ray, Elliot Ramos. Of course, Jose Budo and Matt Gage will also be here. Signing autographs, taking pictures, getting ready for the 2026 baseball season. And don't forget my good friend, he's in the Mascot Hall of Fame. Lucille will be out here taking pictures, shaking hands, high-fiving the kids. There'll be so many different things coming on. And once the gates open at 12 o'clock today, of course, admission is free. Parking is free. It's at Sutter Health Ballpark, home of the Sacramento River Cats. Today, got a couple great guests. Alan Keano is going to join me here at 11:30. We're going to talk pitching and what he did last year with the River Cats and some promising pitchers that might enlighten you with when we see what they do in spring training. Gregor Blanco will join me at 12 o'clock talking defense and talking outfield defense. And the corners, how he played right field, how he played center field, he played left field. And, boy, you start looking at Gregor Blanco and what his career, really, really fascinating. When you think about Gregor Blanco, 10 years he played in Major League Baseball. He had 17 errors. That was it. 17 errors, a .990 fielding percentage. And then Mark Abanez will join me at 12:30 talking Giants baseball. We're going to dive into this schedule as March 25th is when the Giants open up against the New York Yankees at 5:05 at Oracle Park. And we'll get into some of the early matchups and some of their early season scheduling. It's going to be a tough road right off the bat for the San Francisco Giants. Mark and I will talk about that at 12:30. All right, my name's Bill Lasky. We're going to take a quick break. Come on over to Sacramento. It's beautiful out today. Nice warm weather here on the West Coast. Boy, oh boy, the East Coast is getting killed. But we're in Sacramento today, Sutter Health Ballpark. It is the third stop of the San Francisco Giants Fan Fest. Come on down. Enjoy the game. And come on, meet the San Francisco Giants. We'll be right back right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
KNBR, the Sports Leader.
The 2-2 pitch is called strike 3. Fastball got him. Robbie Ray, his 247th career start in what's been a very distinguished career. It's only his second career complete game.
This is the Giants Fanfest warm-up show with Bill Lasky on the home of the orange and black. We are the sports leader.
Welcome back. We are in Sacramento, California at Sutter Health Ballpark, the third stop for the San Francisco Giants Fan Fest, the last day of January, getting ready for first pitch February 10th when the pitchers and catchers report in Scottsdale. 5 days later, the full squad is arriving, and Tony Vitello starts his first year as the manager of the San Francisco Giants. My guest today, a good friend of mine, in his third year coming back to be a Sacramento River Cat. We're in his hometown today. Of course, he's the pitching coach for the Sacramento River Cats. Let's bring in Alan Keano. Alan, how are you today?
I'm good. Bill, I'm good. First question is, what's the weather like there? I'm sitting here in Chicago.
It's pretty nice here. You know, I know you're in Chicago. I don't think it's warm like it is here. A little overcast, but it's a beautiful day here at Sutter Health Ballpark. You have been here for 2 years, starting your third year. Congratulations on coming back with Dave Brundage, and the whole crew's coming back. Tell us a little bit about this coaching staff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we gelled really well together last year, and, of course, Brundy's been the mainstay there with Cabby. And, all these guys, they're really good at what they do. Brundy's seen just about everything along with Cabby, and then having PJ, the hitting coach, he's been absolutely outstanding with Rob Riggins, and then our support staff with Harms, Walsh, Brian, and Nick Solitario. We've been, we had a nice little year last year, and everybody gelled together, so hopefully we can repeat the same thing.
Alan Keano joining me. He's the pitching coach for the Sacramento River Cats. Let's put a little praise on you because the pitchers really threw well for you last year. 7 shutouts, that was third in the league. 1,393 strikeouts, second in the league. 4.96 earned run average, second in the league. Some good, solid numbers right there, Alan. Tell me a little bit about that staff from last year.
Yeah, I mean, we had, starting in the beginning, of course, Kyle Harrison was around and some of those guys, and they did a really nice job with Wisenhunt. Seymour was there, just the young guys picking us up. Mason Black. We had some veteran help with Miguel Diaz. I can go down the list. Joey Lucchese was there early. Mm-hmm. So, these guys really bought into what we wanted to do, which was attack hitters. And it's hard to pitch in the PCL, as you know. And we talk about that all the time. So that 4.9, whatever, it sounds kind of high, but that's actually kind of low when you're heading into El Paso and Salt Lake City.
Oh, you're 100%, Alan, and you start looking at numbers when some of these other pitchers have been throwing. And 2 guys really stand out that had opportunities in the big leagues last year, Trevor McDonald and Carson Wisenhunt. You just mentioned Carson's name, 24 years old, 9-5 with a 4.4 earned run average in Sacramento. He did pitch pretty well in the big leagues. Yeah, gave up the long ball a little bit, but he ended up pitching 5 games, 2-1, got about 24 innings pitched. High earned run average, but the long ball kind of hurt him in the big leagues. You watched him both places in the PCL and Major League. What was the problem that he had, you thought, in the Major Leagues, giving up so many home runs?
Yeah, just adjusting, that's all. It's the adjustment for him at 24. He was probably pitching there at 23. And just understanding, having to attack first with that fastball and getting ahead to set up what is his bread and butter, which is that changeup. So I think he had to learn that lesson at that level. As these guys jump levels, of course, it gets harder, and, Wiz had to figure that out the hard way there. But he can compete. If he gets that fastball in there early and he's running it, 92, 93, he's tough.
Oh, no question. A top prospect for the San Francisco Giants is a left-hander. I just love these guys getting an opportunity. You and I talked several times last year, just getting to the big leagues to see the fields, to see the opposition, to face these hitters. It's a learning curve, but boy, he as well as Trevor McDonald got up there and gave it an opportunity. And now coming into the new year, they know what they got to get better to get there.
Yeah, especially with T-Mac. He really learned kind of in the PCL. He's had a lot of innings for us. understanding his pitch mix with going with that nice sinker and just attacking and letting the movement do the work if he can locate it. The nice slider slurve that he's got going on with a changeup he developed. And, that's why he excelled at the back end of the year there and got his shot in doing that. So a lot of these young guys are starting to come along, and learning in the PCL is not an easy task.
Well, he did pitch very well for you in Sacramento, had 9 wins, 144 strikeouts, only 60 walks. And you say one thing, to get ahead of hitters, using all your pitches. It's easy to say, but with young pitchers to use those secondary pitches, Alan, sometimes they think twice about it. Why is that?
Yeah, I think some of them, we could go old school, new school, but, they get scared of contact instead of understanding it's a round bat, round ball, right? And if we can just get it in the zone, and you played long enough to understand that, getting in the zone and getting ahead of hitters. And, I think sometimes pitchers give hitters too much credit. They deserve credit, but I think we're giving them a little too much credit sometimes. And the environments don't help, as you said. I mean, the PCL doesn't help because we know that ball is going to launch out of there, but when they get to the big leagues like a Wisenhunt and McDonald, that environment is completely different when you add that third deck, and that can get to them too, right? That they got to be too fine instead of just pitching their game. So it's a part of the learning process and developing.
That voice you hear on the warm-up show is Alan Keanu. He's a pitching coach of Sacramento River Cats. We are in his ballpark right now, Sutter Health Ballpark. The gates are going to be open up here at 12 noon. Come on down. It's the third stop for the San Francisco Giants Fanfest. A lot of great players up here, some great pitchers. Robbie Ray, Jose Budo, Matt Gage. Come on up and talk baseball. It's free admission, free parking. And like I said, we're in Alan Keanu's backyard here in the River Cat Sutter Health Ballpark. But now let's talk about a player that came over from the New York Mets, Blade Tidwell. He's got good stuff, throws very hard, got a great breaking ball. Where do you see him fit in this year?
I mean, that's up to the top there where I see him fit in. But to see where he's going, this guy loves to play. And this is something that I think gets lost in the game today because we get wowed by talent and we get wowed by, a lot of other things. But this kid loves to play. And when I watch him compete, he's actually happier the day he's going after it than any other day that he's working. And, that tells me something about a young man, right, that he really wants to get at it. And I really enjoy that about him. The stuff is outstanding. It's electric out of the hand. He's got 2 really good breaking balls, working on a changeup splitter type thing. And the fastballs, they're legit. He's just got to get that jab a little bit more on target. And that's what it would be for him because everything else is just great. And he's strong as an ox, man. Southern boy, big guy.
Alan, Hayden Birdsong was a big name last year, coming out of the bullpen into big league starting, and then he kind of hit a rough spot. This year, he talked last week. He was in San Ramon and talked to a couple of reporters about going to Driveline, going and doing different things, and he found some mechanical issues, and he says he feels a lot better. Tell us a little bit about Driveline. Tell us a little bit about analytics, how they find these little dissecting things from a pitcher's point of view, where his arm slot is. Maybe he's standing up too straight. How did they dissect all that?
Yeah, I mean, they have labs, and as the Giants, we have one as well. And we also have to do it in-game, which is kind of tough with Hawkeye and some of those things. So what Driveline gets to do is they pull guys in. They get to put them on, whether it's 3D motion and all the other things that they're using these days to analyze the way these guys are moving and to find efficient ways for these guys to move. And Birdie, he needed to go down that route a little bit and feel himself out and try to find what was going to work best for him. And, we tried to fix him in game and also at the end of the year last year. And I wouldn't say fix him, but we tried to find a way to make it more efficient for him. And it was just tough. And it was good for Birdie to get a little reset and put his mind on his body and give him a chance to really find out the way he wants to move. So if Birdie's feeling good, then that's good for the San Francisco Giants, that's for sure.
Alan, this is your 6th year with the San Francisco Giants. You spent 3 years in Eugene, some fantastic numbers as a pitching coach. The numbers were phenomenal. This is your 3rd year now in Sacramento. And we talk about youth. We talk about young guys. We talk about Birdsong. You talk about Wisenhunt. It sometimes isn't just pitching that you teach. It's philosophies. It's how you understand the game. How do you get these guys one-on-one and just talk logistics? How do you get better? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, you got to meet them where they're at, and I know that gets said a lot today, but meeting these guys where they're at. Some guys are ready for different information. Some guys need to be told back to the basics of just attack the hitter, get on top. You know, some guys are ready for, hey, let's start reading what the hitter's trying to do to us after we set them up. 0-1, 0-2, 1-2, who's on deck? You know, who's on base? Are they trying to pull my sign? So it really is where each guy is at in their development and what they need. And some guys, Bill, as you know, just need to play the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need to just play the game, feel the game, play to the scoreboard, understand, you know, what the count is, what the score is, what inning it is, what I can do, right? And so, you know, it's really just every day, and that's the beautiful thing about coaching and being around my dad for all the years that he was my high school coach. Every day is different, and every player needs something different. And it's wonderful because you're not teaching the same thing every single day. But the basis of it is kind of the same, which is let's execute what we do really well and be better than the other guy that night.
Alan, it's so much easier when you say to your pitcher, you're going to the big leagues. You're one step away of Major League Baseball. You're one step away, and when that call comes in, the pitching coach, the first guy, wrap your arms around him. You deserve this. Go up there and kick butt. Go up there and be aggressive. But the harder one, Alan, is when they come down. And those are the big blocks that you have to take on yourself and try to reiterate how you can get better. How are you going to get better? What can you do here now? Because that's a gut punch. It doesn't matter how old you are. I've done it. You've done it. We've gone up, called down, gone up, called down. It's tough for any athlete. And here you are the pitching coach. How do you absorb that? How do you get them to kind of forget about it and try to work on more?
You know, I think you used a word there, not to use it against you, but forget about it. Actually, what I try to tell these guys to do is don't forget about it. Understand what you learned there, right? And then also understand you're that close, and maybe at that time it wasn't the right time. Maybe the ball club needed you for this amount of time, and they're going to call you back. And how do you do that? You sustain what got you that call, and then you try to enhance what you can or your weakness that you showed in the big leagues, so that we can get you back up there and you can stay for a long time, and then I never have to see you again, right? So, and then of course that's easier said than done. And sometimes that takes a little bit longer with different guys. They have to get over the breakup, and that's kind of what it is. And not to compare it to that is the breakup happens, but they're still a part of it, right? So how do we make them feel important in those moments so that they understand, hey, you're going to get used again? And it happened with Tristan Beck last year. And you know what, that guy, he's so resilient. He's like, you know what, I'm going to work on my stuff and I'm going to get back. And he did. He finished the year exactly where he wanted. And that's the mindset you have to take. And that's hard to say that. But to go through it is actually really good, because you look at, you know, really good pitchers that you can even see Robbie Ray's career. And I just heard a thing on him. But, like, he went up and down a couple times, and then, boom, he took off. So it happens to even Cy Young winners, right? So we have to stay focused on what we do really well and work on some of our weaknesses so that they can maintain themselves in the major leagues.
That voice you hear on the warm-up show is a pitching coach for the Sacramento River Cats, going back for his third year, 6 years now with the San Francisco Giants, Alan Chiano, as we welcome you in. At 12 o'clock, the gates are going to be open here at the home of the Sacramento River Cats, Sutter Health Ballpark, as the third stop for the San Francisco Giants Fanfest. Alan, you know, we talk about spring training. We talk about getting there February 10th, pitchers and catchers. Now, of course, you go back in my day, you didn't really have a lot of things that you could work on. You're doing yourself these things. But now I think the Giants pretty much set a table for all your pitchers. How does that work, and how do they come prepared for spring training?
Yeah, the world of baseball, Bill, has completely changed, right? With now you brought up Driveline, Tread, all these other places where they can go and they can work on their craft. You know, with the way finances has changed in baseball, where maybe you had to go get a job, it's different now. These guys are taken care of, which is a great thing for them. And but it lets them work on their craft all year round, so they could go into these facilities and work on what they need to work on, like what Birdsong is doing to enhance themselves and make themselves improve and be better. and then come in, and it's almost like they slide right into spring training and they're ready to go. So it's baseball now is a well-oiled machine with them. They'll go take a couple weeks off, and then they'll hit the treads or the drive lines and get themselves ready to go, and then they come in and we just jump right into it with these guys, especially with the World Baseball Classic coming up.
I know. Well, the other thing, too, is there pitch count? Is there something you work on as soon as they hit there? Is there a pitch count you start off with, 20, 30 pitches every other day? What are some of the things that you're doing as a pitching coach to adjust to all these pitchers?
Yeah, like in the off season, we're having meetings about these guys. This is a yearly thing, and we're talking to some of these guys. Like I'll be talking to some of the guys in Sacramento that we think are going to come back and help us out. So we're asking them what they're working on. We're giving them things that they need to work on, that we think they need to focus on, whether it's weight room nutrition or delivery-based or pitch mix stuff. So when they come in, usually they're expected to be able to throw bullpens, which is about 25 pitches. Starters, what do they usually go? About 2-3 innings off the bat, and then, the relievers are going to work at about a 25, 30-pitch clip in the beginning, and then they're going to go from there because we'll have simulated games probably about 7 days into once pitchers and catchers meet. So, as we know, we hit the ground running. And what you guys, my assumption from the history books, what you guys used to do is you came in and spring training was for you to get ready.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You did your weight training, and you ended up starting throwing as soon as you walked in the door there, and it has changed, but again, it's changed for the good. Now, I just want to throw a couple curveballs here to you, Alan. I know you were a good hitter when you were a pitcher. When you look at what the major leagues have done, the bullpen is the biggest question mark. There are so many names, and there's so many opportunities to compete with. I was talking to Javi Lopez last year. This is an opportunity for any pitcher that's going to big league camp to have that chance to break with the team. Is this something that the Giants want? Is this competitiveness? Is this something that they want to say, hey, you're coming into camp, win a job?
Yeah, from as much as I have spent time around Buster Posey, I think he invites the competitiveness, especially for these guys that are young, and some of the other guys that still can put a footprint on their careers, like a Joey Lucchesi. Let's just use Joey Lucchesi, who has moved on since, but they can come in and resurrect their careers and go, hey, I can find my spot. Joel Pagero, right? He came in at the end of the year last year, and boom, he's going to earn a spot to be talked about to enter that bullpen. So, hey, here's a great way to advance your career and go and get it. And it's on you whether you advance or not, right? So I think every player should look at that who's in our system and go, man, this is a great opportunity for me to be a San Francisco Giant. I can go make my way into that major league bullpen. Ryan Walker did the same thing, right?
He sure did. A couple more minutes with Alan Keano as we're welcoming in all the fans for the San Francisco Giants as we are here at Sutter Health Ballpark. The gates are going to be open here at noon. Of course, Alan Keano is in Chicago, a little cooler there. But when you start thinking about Arizona, you start thinking about spring training, Alan. You've been around baseball for many years. What excites you to come back and be a pitching coach?
I mean, it's funny, right? Because right now I'm doing some stuff with some travel ball stuff here in suburb of Chicago, and it excites me just to be around the game. And you know that. I mean, just showing up and watching these guys excited to get after it in a new year. You never know what it is. You hope it's for the better and just to go through it. So it's the same way as coaches. It's a new year. We come in. We're excited to be around the guys, excited to be around the staff. That's the beautiful thing about the Giants. We have so many wonderful people that work with us. It's just one of those environments that you go, man, I'm really excited. Other than leaving your family, going to Scottsdale, Arizona ain't so bad. And get to watch some big league baseball.
Well, Alan, I want to thank you for your time. I want to congratulate you coming back for the Orange and Black, and it's always great catching up with you. We'll do more as the season progresses, but you get warm in Chicago, and we'll see you in Arizona in a few weeks.
Okay, thanks, Bill. I appreciate it.
Always. That was Alan Keano. He's the pitching coach for the Sacramento Rivercats. Says the gates are ready to be open here at Sutter Health Ballpark for the third stop for the San Francisco Giants Fan Fest. Boy, it's going to be a fun day out here at Sutter Health. A lot of fans waiting to come in. Free parking, free admission. Dusty Baker's here. Willie Adames, Robbie Ray, Elliot Ramos, Jose Budo, and Matt Gage. And don't forget, Lucille will be out here for all the kids. My name's Bill Lasky. We're going to take a quick break. Come back with more on the warm-up show as the San Francisco Giants Fan Fest is opening here at Sutter Health Ballpark. We'll be right back right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
KNBR, the sports leader.
Flores at third. Adames, the runner at second. Bailey at first. 3-0. Arizona leading. 1 out. 1 strike pitch. Swing, and there's a shot! Deep left field. Way back there. Gurriel at the wall. Goodbye! A grand slam for Koss! His first big league homer is a grand slam.
Back to the Giants Fanfest warm-up show with Bill Lasky on the Sports Leader.
Welcome back to the KNBR warm-up show. Raph playing some great highlights of last year, 2025, and how can you not get excited when a John Miller, Dave Fleming calls of home runs and strikeouts, and the 2026 San Francisco Giants baseball season is upon us. February 10th, pitchers and catchers are going to be out there at Scottsdale Stadium and Papago throwing their first few pitches. February 15th, that's right, 15 days. The full squad will be out there in their orange and black uniforms for Tony Vitello to welcome him, and also welcome he as the first-year manager of the San Francisco Giants. So some great stuff coming up here in the month of February as we end up January 31st today. Gates are open. Of course, we are here in Sacramento, home of the Sacramento Rivercats, Sutter Health Ballpark. It is going to be a fun day today. Dusty Baker, Willie Adames, Robbie Ray, Elliot Ramos, Jose Budo, Matt Gage, they are all here waiting for you to come in, get some photographs with them, getting some autographs, talking Giants baseball. They are excited as well as all of we are as the new season of the 2026 San Francisco Giants are upon us. Boy, oh boy, it went fast over the winter, and now baseball season is here. Autographs, question and answers, games, ticket offers, free face painting, all kind of stuff for kids. And, of course, the Hall of Famer, the mascot, Lucille, will also be here. All right, coming up, we're going to take a quick break. Gregor Blanco is going to join me, and we're going to talk defense and a little bit about what he's doing in MLB. So join me right back here as we take a quick break on the KNBR warm-up show with Bill Lasky. Gregor Blanco joining us next right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
This is the flagship of Giants baseball.
Double play!
KNBR and KNBR-FS San Francisco, the Sports Leader.
Gregor Blanco drives one deep center field, and it is high off the wall, not a home run. Blanco stopped running. Now he's going to speed up and head to third as the ball is relayed from Pollock to Ahmed and then to third, and Blanco slides in safely, ultimately with a triple, and he was just convinced that was a home run, and now it is a home run. So let's redo that call. It's gone. Blanco goes deep. It's 1-0 Giants.
This is the Giants Fanfest warm-up show with Bill Lasky on the home of the Orange and Black. We are the sports leader.
Welcome back to the KNBR warm-up show with Bill Lasky. The gates are open here at Sutter Health Ballpark. The fans are coming in, a great array of Giants here to welcome you and welcome the 2026 San Francisco Giants Baseball Fan Fest. Dusty Baker, Willie Adames, Robbie Ray, Elliot Ramos, Jose Budo, Matt Gage, and of course Lucille are here to greet you and talk about Giants baseball. As spring training is right around the corner, February 10th, pitchers and catchers, February 15th, the full squad. And my next guest knows all about spring training, 10-year veteran, and of course he's a forever Giant, two-time World Series champ, 2012 and 2014, 2013 Wilson Defensive Player of the Year. Let's bring in the White Shark, Gregor Blanco. Gregor, how are you today, my friend?
Man, that's thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be in the show, and I'm excited to talking to you guys and talk about baseball.
Well, Gregor, spring training's upon us. You had 10 years in Major League Baseball, another probably 8 or 10 in the minor leagues, depending on how many years you ended up playing. What does spring training mean to you as a player when you first got in there, a veteran player, and now retired a little bit? Spring training means a lot to all of us. Yes,
definitely. It's a time. It's that time that you get like you feel wet again. It's like start over again, and especially the first time you go to spring training, you don't know what to expect. Like, what's expectation? What's everybody looking for me? What should I do? But once you start doing it like years by years, and then you just like, man, I can't wait to see my buddies. I can wait to see my coaches. I can't wait to see my fans, the stadium, the smell. Like that's really exciting, and it's one of the greatest moments in baseball for sure.
Gregor, you grew up in Venezuela. I played in winter ball in Venezuela. So did you. Winter ball really kind of takes a little bit out of you, but as a Latin player, you want to play in front of your home crowd. How did you do that? How did you maintain that? And then also giving yourself a little rest in the winter.
Hey, that was and this is something I feel like not many people know about me. And like I did it, man. I did it for, I would say, like nine years straight. Yeah, 9-10 years.
Sure did.
I did it for like so many years in a row, like playing minor league baseball here, and then going to Venezuela, play winter ball, and then coming back for spring training and do it again. And I did it for straight without stopping for like eight to 10 years in a row. It was crazy. But definitely it's amazing to play at home, to play through in my hometown, and to see my family, my friends. And it's one of those moments that I usually take a lot of pride of myself, like going to winter ball and always trying to become better. Like there was stuff that like I needed to work on after my season here in the States, and then I go to winter ball, and I told myself, you got to prepare for that. So that was just preparation for me.
Gregor, as a young pitcher myself, when I went to Venezuela, that was really the first time through the minor leagues I got to pitch against big leaguers, because there was so many great Latin players there. Dave Concepcion, a few other players, just really good quality baseball. And you talk about playing it for so many years there. And the constant grind, and you had constant playing, constant, being on alert, playing good baseball in Venezuela. Then you only had a little time before spring training. How did you cope with that for your body? How did you give yourself a little bit more time in spring training to rest, but you still had to compete?
Do you know what? That's a great question, and I don't know how I did it. Like, I tell you the truth, like I don't know how I did it for so many years straight. But one thing that I did good always in my career was like I always have my time to sleep. I always like eat the best I can. I didn't drink alcohol. I was like a really good like ball player all around. Like I focused on my training in the mornings, stretching, all that, so I can become better. But like doing it for so many years, and now sitting at home, I actually I start feeling it now. Like I'm 42 years old, and now I'm home. Like, man, my back hurt. Like, why my back hurt? So I start thinking about all the stuff. Like, well, you did a lot of stress. You put a lot of stress in your body for so many years, and like little stuff like that. But like in those moments, to me, it was just about improving myself. Like I wanna get better. I wanna get better. And that year, man, like when I signed with the Giants in 2012, I became like that year before I was like MVP in the league in the winter ball, and that's how I got find out. That's how the Giants found me, and I was so blessed, and everything started there.
That voice you hear on the KNBR Warmup Show, my good friend Gregor Blanco, the two-time World Series champ with the San Francisco Giants. And I got to stop you a little bit about Venezuela. That's where you got your nickname, the White Shark. I was reading all about that. Tell me a little bit about how that occurred.
Well, that's another great question. So everything started because so people know I play winter ball in a team they call the Tiburones de la Guaira. That means it means like the La Guaira Sharks, and I was like a very popular player there. Like again, I win MVPs, I win by the title. I was like the guy in winnable. So the fans started calling me because my last name is Blanco. They started calling me the Tiburon Blanco. That means the white shark in English. So that's how everything translated. And then I get here 2012. I signed as a free agent. I went from MVP year in Venezuela. Pablo Sandoval was on the team, and Pablo, when I got introduced in spring training, Pablo was like, "Hey, this is a white shark." He told everybody I was a white shark. He told everybody where I'm coming from. So that's how everything started with the white shark, which I love it. It was amazing.
Well, I love it too. I think it stuck really well for you too, and all the things you did in Venezuela, winter ball, baseball, it just stuck to the right guy, and I think those are the positive things that came about it. Well, Gregor, I want to talk about defense. You were a fantastic outfielder. You played right field, center field, and left field. In 10 years of playing the outfield, you committed only 17 errors, a .990 fielding percentage. Outstanding as an outfielder. And, of course, we'll recap that great catch in Matt Cain's perfect game in a little bit. But I want to talk about Oracle Park. Back then it was AT&T Park with you, playing right field, center field, and left field. It is different. The sun's different. The wind's different. The ball carries different. I want to know what's best for these outfielders. How can they improve their defense at that ballpark?
That's a great question again. Like I think one of the things that I always I took pride, it was my batting practice. You know, batting practice, it means a lot to me, and how I take routes to the ball. It was everything for me. So when the game arrived, I was the same guy, like kind of knowing, especially in Oracle Park, like you're saying, like the wind shift in every batter.
Yeah.
So I was always checking my win. I was always checking where my defensive players are. If I'm playing center field, I want to make sure where's my left field, where's my right field. And I always was preparing myself for the worst scenario, you know, and I trust in my abilities to, okay, I want the ball be able to be hit to me. I want my pitcher to trust me. Like I took a lot of pride on myself, like making my pitcher understand, like he can make a mistake and I'm gonna back him up. To me, that was everything. So I think those little things and my first steps, how I move my first step, it was everything again, and not getting lazy with my feet, because that's another thing, especially in Oracle Park. If you get lazy with your feet, then a lot of bad things can happen.
Well, Gregor, yesterday Buster Posey made an announcement where Harrison Bader, who they just signed to a 2-year contract, will be the center fielder. And Jung-Hoo Lee will now go to right field, and things have to change for him. He's got to learn how to play the ball off the bricks, how to play the corner. He's got a strong enough arm to play right field. What are some of the complications that you can talk about from moving from center field to right field at Oracle Park?
It is a little different. It is definitely a little different, and I think the adjustment on his feet is got to change because now the ball is going to move differently. So that's one of the things it was tough for me, especially playing right field in that ballpark is difficult because just like you're saying, the brick wall and it's short to the line and then get wider to the gaps. So like that's a little different, and you have to adjust your feet the way you see home plate. I think to me that was a big change. Treated like I was playing center field, and to tell you like so people understand like I have to actually show it to you and in live. But like I think the shifting or how you set up looking home plate it helps a lot. It helps a lot. Especially going from center field to right field, or even going from center field to left field. Those changes I did, and it helped me like reading the ball a lot better, especially in the corners.
That voice you hear on the warm-up show is Gregor Blanco as the gates are open now here at Sutter Health Ballpark. Giants fans are coming in. Of course, a great array of players. Dusty Baker is also here. Lucille is here. So many different things to do out here. Some great music being played. So come on out. Free admission, free parking at Sutter Health Ballpark. Gregor, we talk about right field and we talk about the bricks, but I want to talk a little bit about right center field, where that little edge is, where you got to kind of watch where the ball's going to carry. We saw it last year with an inside the park home run where the center fielder didn't follow up. There are so many different creaks and crannies in that right field, and you talk about batting practice. Is this something that you did, or where you watched a coach kind of hit balls off the brick to see the angles of it? And how did you learn about it?
No, I put myself in every scenario. They will practice because just like you said, I play center, right, and left. So I take practice sometimes in right field, and I move myself all the way to the warning track. So every ball the guys hit, I can play off the wall. I can read it to see if I can make the play. But one of the things that I always say, and I appreciate you guys calling me to talk about outfield, is because one of the things that I always say is you got to be safe playing the outfield, especially in that ballpark. You just don't want to run into the wall and smash yourself and be down and be gone for 3 months.
Yeah.
That's reckless. So I think learning how to go to the fence, especially in that fence, and understanding can I make the play or should I back it up and wait for the bounce, or talk to your right center field and say hey, I'm gonna go all the way to the fence, and I need you to back me up if the ball bounce hard, so you're there. Little stuff like that, those conversations need to happen. They always need to happen, even during the game, especially kind of the guys that because there's some guys that they can hit the ball hard, and they got that tendency they can put the ball in the wall easily. So those conversations always need to happen with your outfielders. Hey, here we go. This guy hit for a lot of doubles. He have a lot of pop. So let's make sure we communicate who's going to go for the wall, who's going to be the backup guy, and stuff like that. That helps a lot.
Communication, that's what you're talking about, and it's so essential playing the outfield, especially right field. And then you got to look at Triple's alley. That ball squiggles through it. It's all the way in the corner. Being left-handed as you were, that was an advantage for you. Why do you think more outfielders are playing more to right center field, giving the hitters the right field line now?
Because it's shorter. So I think the damage, the most damage you can do is hitting in that gap. You can take three bases easily, and if you hit the ball towards the line, you might take two. Because if you hit it hard enough and the ball bounce, that right field might catch the ball and maybe throw you out of second base. So I have more chance to do less damage and prepare for the biggest damage, which is the in the gap.
Gregor Blanco joining me for a few more minutes. Of course, a two-time World Series champion in 2012 and 2014 with the San Francisco Giants. A nice award that you won in 2013, the Wilson Defensive Player of the Year. But the day that I want to talk about is June 13, 2012. Matt Cain was on the mound, had a perfect game going in the top of the seventh inning. A ball was crushed in the right center field. You took off, did a nice dive. I still think it's the greatest catch at AT&T Ballpark back then. It's one of the greatest that I ever saw. And it ended up being a perfect game, one of the first and only for the San Francisco Giants with Matt Cain. Take us through that moment. Take us through that thought pattern of you busting your tail because you were after that ball. You were not going to let that ball drop.
Yeah, it does. That moment, man, I still feel like it was yesterday, to tell you the truth. I still feel like it was like not too many long ago. But it's one of those things that again, before I answer, it's one of the things that I wish we can get back to that. Like, for example, I feel like we need baseball to be back on guys like reading the bats, like how my pitcher is pitching, what kind of is he struggling with his off piece pitches, like he's trusting more on his sinker, little stuff like that. Because that moment, the why I catch the ball, it was because of that. Like Mike Cain, he was throwing a perfect game. Every pitch was working for him, but I knew the batter. So the batter, it was Jordan Schaefer, the left-hander swing, and he doesn't have a swing, or he didn't have a swing that it was like in and out. So he was more like a pull guy, and I know Mike Cain, his sinker was working. His sinker changeup, slider was working perfectly, but his best pitch that day was the sinker. He put that sinker wherever he wanted to put it on, and all the other pitches they were like after that. So it was 3-2 count, and I was like, he might gonna throw that sinker away, and if Jordan Schaefer hit the ball good, he's gonna hit it in this specific spot. Wow. And right before he threw the ball, I start moving myself like towards the gap, like literally moving before he threw the ball. Soon as he hit the bat, I just put my head down and I start running. And then I saw the ball and I dived and I made the play. So it was one of those things that instincts, like instincts.
I still see it, Gregor. I still see you making that catch. I mean, it is so pathetic. Man, I mean, it's right in my head. It's right here, right? And I think all Giants fans feel the same way. And then when you caught it and you landed on the warning track, you put the glove and the ball was in it. It was fantastic. And, Milky Cabrera made a nice catch, too, in left field in that game, too. But it always makes that one dramatic catch, and I'll never forget that, Gregor. But let's finish up. What are you doing now with MLB, and what's coming up for the 2026 season for you?
Well, I'm a senior director of baseball operations for the commissioner's office in Major League Baseball, and I just helps like everything regards on the baseball field, like rules, like a lot of stuff, like understanding how the game moving, improving the game in the world. Like I went to Chile last year and helping out growing the game over there. DR, like a lot of things, and I love what I'm doing right now. I think it helped me to grow myself, and I always was a player that I want to make my peers better, so I can be better. So in this job, I can do that. I can make my baseball grow around the globe, and just helping myself as well as a ball player. So.
Well, you're a fantastic ambassador of the game, and for what you've done in your 10-year career with the Giants and other teams, and all the friendships that you've made through baseball, and this is something that's perfect for you, and congratulations on continuing to do it. But I just want to thank you for your time today. It was great talking defense, and one of the greatest outfielders. 17 errors in 10 years, Gregor. Fantastic career, and I thank you for your time today.
Oh, thank you, thank you so much, guy. I appreciate you, and I hope to see you soon. Hope to see you soon. Hope to see go to the
Excellent.
base soon, and miss my Giants, man. I miss you all. So wish you all the best.
Gregor, thank you so much. That was Gregor Blanco on the KNBR warm-up show as the gates are open now at Sutter Health Ballpark. Giants fans are filing through with all their orange and black apparel on. It's Giants Baseball 2026, the third stop for the San Francisco Giants, and we're going to come up with more. Have much coming up in next, but come on out to Sutter Health Ballpark. Free admission, free parking. It's a great time out here, and the weather is starting to warm up. My name's Bill Lasky. We'll be back with more right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Now here it is. Swing, and there's a high drive. Deep left center field. Way back there. Adios, Pelota. More than halfway up into the bleachers in deep left center to the right of the 375 marker. And the Giants jump ahead 1-0. The 18th home run of the year for Elliot Ramos.
And the sweetest sound to a Giants hitter ears is the boos from the Dodgers fans.
Back to the Giants Fanfest warm-up show with Bill Lasky on the Sports Leader.
All right, welcome back. The gates are open. Giants fans are here. We are home of the Sacramento Rivercats Sutter Health Ballpark. A gorgeous day here in Sacramento. Of course, that clip that Ralph just played, Elliot Ramos hitting a bomb in Dodger Stadium as the fans were booing him. And Elliot is right here signing autographs, taking some photos. Had a great year last year, 21 home runs, 256 batting average. Of course, he was a National League All-Star in 2024. As we continue on the FanFest show, my next guest, a good friend of mine, over 40 years he was the KTVU sports director. You hear him talking to me pretty much all year. We love to talk to him more, and that's why I brought him on. Let's welcome in Mark Ibanez. Mark, how are you this afternoon?
Hey, Bill, happy Super Bowl week. Let's talk some baseball, right? Football season's ultimate point, but it also means spring training right around the corner. And you got me pumped up. Anytime you hear John Miller's voice call it a Giants home run, how can you not get a little excited about baseball? And you know what? I got to compliment you on that interview with Gregor Blanco, because, 3 or 4 times during that interview, Gregor said, "Great question, Bill." And, you're bringing it from a journalistic standpoint.
I got a few for you now, Mark. I'm all ready for you now. I gotta get my homework done to talk of Mark Ibanez here. So,
I'll be the judge if your questions are good. I'll
that's even. Hey, you know what? That's all I could ask for, right? Well, Mark, you start a new season, and you and I have talked several times over the winter, and you start seeing these big teams like the Dodgers and the Cubs and the Yankees spending so much money on free agency. And, of course, in 2027, the loom of a baseball strike happens. But every owner has an opportunity to purchase players. Every owner has an open door policy to see what's going to make this team better. I look at what Buster Posey's done, and I see a different type of president of baseball operations. His cards are close to him. He doesn't really tell you what he's thinking or what he's doing. But I tell you, he has now made Harrison Bader his center fielder. He's made his outfield defense better. He's still looking at possibilities at second base, still a possibility of starting staff. Do you think he has done enough to compete in the National League West?
Well, I think what Buster's strategy, and I'm just kind of trying to read between the lines on it, I think it's two-pronged. One, you kind of mentioned the potential labor strike that we've got looming around the corner in the next off season when the union contract expires. And, you're hearing the owners want a salary cap, and that's a non-starter with the players, of course. So it could be a lengthy problem. And then the other thing is, I think the ideology in the Niners I got still football on my mind. The Giants organization is kind of, we can't outspend the Dodgers,
right,
although I'm sure there are some fans who would argue, why not? Because the franchise is doing really well. And I think Buster's overall big view, the macro vision of the Giants is to build from within, like they did in those World Series years where they had, for the most part, a homegrown pitching staff and a lot of products from their farm system. And you know what that's going to take, Bill? You know this. It's going to take patience from the fan base. And that is something that, me as a lifelong Giant fan, I have troubles with. I struggle with it, man. I'm like, why aren't you trying to get, in with the big boys? You're a legacy franchise that should be talked about in the same sentence as the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Giants, right? So part of me says, let's go spend some money. But part of me also wants to look at what I think Buster's vision is, a team that builds from within and then can go out and fill a hole with a big-time free agent. And you know what? They got a lot of big names on the team, but from what I hear with Giant fans so far this offseason, it's like, what are they doing? They haven't done enough. But, you know, we wait and see because it's spring, and you got to be optimistic, Bill.
And you still got time. I mean, we've seen signings in spring training when they signed Matt Chapman. You know, it was later in the year. They got guys in spring training. I don't like signing pitchers. I want the pitchers in there the first day. I don't like that pitchers middle of the year like they did with a couple other pitchers that Farhan got in too late.
Remember Blake Snell? Yeah, it was a disaster in the first half of the season, you know. And
well, you know, Mark, the other question that you said, and I believe the same thing, is Buster Posey came within an organization, played in one organization his whole career. The Madison Bumgarners, the Matt Cains, all the people that you said were homegrown. And I think that is one big part that he wants to see the minor leagues get better. I think he's put Randy Wynn in a great position to see what's needed. And he's got Kirk Casale now, Javi Lopez, another couple players that he really believes in, the confidence factor. And I think all the ducks are in a row. It's just now putting this all together. And the question I want to ask you, the new manager, Tony Vitello, coming over from college baseball with Tennessee, first year as a manager in the big leagues. He's got a lot of personalities he's learning. Of course, he went to Korea. He went to Dominican. He's starting to know a little of the culture of these players. But this is a big step for him. What do you see in the first couple of weeks of spring training?
Well, it's really huge, and you know everybody's got an opinion when you bring in a guy who has no previous major league experience, either as a player or a coach or a manager. So a lot of question marks, and you know I've heard people say, well, he better not come in with that rah Harry High School attitude, and you know veteran big leaguers are not going to take to that. But also I want to say, well, maybe they should keep a little open mind because those guys have been around a while. The Giants, let's remember, they've been a 500 team the last few years. So maybe a breath of fresh air, maybe a guy with a new vision and a different outlook on things can bring something special to this team that we haven't seen before. And it is a new brand of baseball we're seeing, a new way of looking at it. He's a young guy with a lot of enthusiasm. And, you know, I'm sure along the way he's going to rub some people the wrong way. But you know what? Maybe that's not a bad thing. You know, I know Buster's not one of those guys that, you know, he'd get a base hit and he'd go down to first base and start a family reunion with the opposing first baseman. And you know what I mean? Like Buster was old school like that. And, you know, if you ruffle a few feathers, as he's been heard to say, I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't think, and you played in a different era too. I don't imagine there was a lot of buddy stuff going on back then. You know, you get between the lines and you're there for business, man. You don't need to, you know, all that
Mark,
stuff.
you are so right on. You are so right on how the game has changed, you know, and the opponent was the opponent back in the early days. And you say old school, but they were our opponents. If you wanted to talk to them, take them out to lunch or dinner away from the ballpark. And that was a mentality. The game's changed. We all know that. I'm never going to go to old school, new school. But you're absolutely right. And I think Buster is preceding those thoughts. He doesn't like the conversations on the field and the laughter if you're getting beat. You want to win.
No.
You want to fight for 27 outs.
I agree with that. And, you know, I've heard Buster say something to the effect, and I'm paraphrasing, like, you know, when you see guys a couple hours before the game and the opposing teams and they're all hugging and laughing and joking with each other, it's like, you know, he doesn't like that. I know there's a lot of guys who played the game years past who also don't appreciate that. You know, you want to get together, go out after the game, go out to dinner afterwards.
Correct.
Or, you know, there is a 5-month off season. Go do it then. But once you get to the ballpark, I'm more in line with, you know, it's hardcore. You know, that's That's the time to be about your business of baseball and winning, and maybe you lose a little edge. I'm sure the other side would argue about that, but I think maybe you lose a little edge if your best buddy is pitching to you. You know what I mean? It's not the same, and I know you're in that same camp too for the most part.
That voice you hear on the Warm-Up Show, my good friend Mark Ibanez, of course, he was one of the greatest sports directors at KTVU until he retired a few years ago. Now he's a fan. I love talking to him about all kind of baseball things. But we're here at Sutter Health Ballpark as the third stop of the San Francisco Giants Fanfest. A lot of great players are out here. Willie Adames, Robbie Ray, Elliot Ramos, Jose Budo, Matt Gage, and, of course, one of our good friends, Mark Dusty Baker, who is now an advisor, and that's where my next question is going to you. Bruce Bochy coming back. Dusty Baker is back, and now we have Ron Washington, a triangle of wealth, a triangle of experience, a triangle of Hall of Famers, and they're all help to Tony Vitello. What'd you think of that?
I absolutely love that. And you know as well as I do what kind of a reputation, just say Ron Washington has, for the most part over in the East Bay with the A's. And Eric Chavez even presented him with the Gold Glove he won because he said, I wouldn't have won this thing without the help of him. He is renowned as a great coach, and obviously the Giants want to put a big emphasis on improving their infield defense as well as the outfield. But he's a guy who can help. And I remember hearing, word of mouth stuff that, Dusty was hired during the Farhan years, and nobody ever picked his brain about stuff. Nobody ever called him into the office and said, Dusty, what do you think about this? And I like the fact that Buster has gone completely the opposite way. How can you have a Hall of Fame dude like Dusty Baker in your organization and not at least run things by him on a regular basis? The guy has seen everything. He's transcended different eras. He's been a player and a manager. And, that's just like an example of how do you not bring in guys like Bruce Bochy and guys who have won World Series and pick their brain and get their opinions and take the eyeball test with them and not necessarily
100%.
Rely all on the analytics. It doesn't make sense.
And the other thing, Mark, is Bruce Bochy coming in from being a manager of the Texas Rangers winning a World Series. And I think the signing of Tyler Mahle had a lot to do with Bruce Bochy. He was talking to FP Santangelo and on their podcast, and he said, this guy's a number one pitcher. He's got electric stuff, 4 or 5 pitch mix. He says he's a gamer. He wants the ball all the time. Had some minor injuries, but he said when they picked him up, that was a huge, huge plus in this 5-man rotation. And I have to agree with him. I watched some video on him. He's got some nasty stuff, a lot of movement.
Well, that's the thing. When you've got a guy who actually in person saw this guy from afar and he's able to see what the potential is, you got to take his word, especially when it comes from a guy like Bruce Bochy, who really made his bones. I mean, obviously he was a big league catcher when he played, so he knows a little something about pitching from that aspect. But he was renowned particularly for putting together great bullpens, and he knows something about pitching. So if he says Mahle is a guy you want to sign, I believe him. And conversely, I don't know what you think about this, Bill. Dusty worked closely with the guy who's out on the free agent market, Framber Valdez, I believe, with the Astros. And so I would imagine, his name has been connected with the Giants. He's still a free agent. And I would imagine Dusty, up close and personal, would be able to get in the ear of Buster and say, hey, this is a guy you want, or conversely, this is a guy you don't want on your staff for whatever reason. So when you have guys who have firsthand personal experience with guys around the league, as does Ron Washington, man, you got to lean on those guys. You got to not necessarily go completely by the numbers. Come on.
You're so right. And, you know, you said it earlier, the eye test, knowing these guys, seeing them, how they compete, seeing how they react when they're not having a good inning. How can they compete? How can they make those adjustments? Those are all key points. And you got managers of the year here. You got the greatest defensive coach with Ron Washington, a triangle of mammoth information. And I'm right there with you, Mark. Buster Posey made a great triangle of wealth for Tony here. Mark Abani is joining me for a few more minutes on the warm-up show as we open the gates here at Sutter Health Ballpark. The third stop for the San Francisco Giants Fan Fest. A great day for baseball here as we're blessed with the weather on the West Coast, where the East Coast is freezing, rain, snow. Woo, it's too cold out there for me, Mark. But let's look at one thing.
I'm
the
jealous
season
of
starts
you being out there at the ballpark.
The season starts March 25th when the Yankees come to town, a 5:05 start. I want to talk a little bit about the first couple months of the San Francisco Giants season. They play the Yankees for 3 games. Then they go to San Diego for 3 games. Then they come back and play the New York Mets for 4 and the Phillies for 3. That's a pretty tough start for the San Francisco Giants right there.
It really is. On paper, that's a gruesome way to start the season, and you know this from having played yourself, how important it is for a team to get off to a great start. What does every manager say in every interview you ever take in spring training is, you know, it's important for us to get off to a good start, because what that does is it gives you the foundational belief right out of the gate that you're a good team if you're stacking up wins. And I'm an old guy, man. I remember all the way back to 1971 when the Giants unexpectedly got off to a great start. They had Chris Byer at shortstop, a kid who's barely 20 years old. He might even have been 19. You got Kenny Henderson, Willie Mays, Bobby Bonds, and McCovey, and Dick Dietz, and Tito, and all those guys. And they got off to a blazing start when nobody had them pegged to win the division. And because of that start, they were able to hang on and get into the playoffs on the last day of the season, and wound up losing to Roberto Clemente and the Pirates.
Oh.
But you know what? It's just as I take a little trip down memory lane there.
It's a great one, too, with the names you threw out there.
Yeah, that's fun times, man. And you know, the thing is that if you look back over the course of history and see who winds up winning the division, more often than not, it's teams that had a great April and May to put up that foundational record. But of course, there's great comebacks. Lots of teams get off to a slow start, but that is a gruesome schedule the Giants are looking at.
It sure is. And you know, it doesn't get easier. It does not get easier. And then they traveled to Baltimore, Cincinnati, and Washington on a 9-day road trip. Then they come back and play the Dodgers for 3. And the month of April is right there against all the top line contending teams in each division, and they're going to have to somehow, some way contend against them. And that's where I go back to this, the roster. Do you think Buster Posey is done building this roster, Mark? Do you think there might be an opportunity? He keeps talking about upgrading second base, a possible, like you said, Valdez possibly getting in a rotation. Do you think this roster right now is complete, or do you think he's still open-minded?
Well, the fan in me says right off the bat, right out of the gate, Bill, I hope they're not done, because I was kind of excited that they were thinking about getting or trying to get the guy from St. Louis, Donovan, who's a real good bat to ball. Yeah, to you know, they need more guys in the lineup that don't strike out a lot, put the ball in play, and that guy, I think, would have been perfect for them. I hope that's a possibility at second base. Obviously, they have to shore that up. I truthfully was hoping that they would get an established veteran backup catcher, you know, to help Patrick Bailey with the load there. And you can never have too much depth in the outfield. But I like the Harrison Bader, signing. I was at a celebrity poker tournament last weekend with a lot of former Giants and A's there, And they all said, I asked them, what do you think of the Harrison Bader thing? It was almost coinciding with the event. And they all, to a man, said, this dude is all out. You're going to get a hustling player. Nobody had any complaints about the effort that he puts out there. And it'll be nice to have a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. But in answer to your question, from a analytical standpoint, are they done? It's harder than you think. I mean, it's not as easy to say, oh, hey, just go get Donovan. Make a trade to get him in here and go sign, Framber Valdez. And, it's hard to do that. I realize that. And I hope they're not done as a fan. But realistically, I'm not quite sure that the Harrison Bader move might not be their last of any name.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree. And we don't really talk about Rafael Devers. We don't really talk about what he did last year coming over from Boston in a tough trade for him, a change of scenery, the National League, and now he comes into spring training from the first day on. And I think that's going to change a little bit about him. I think his attitude, his resistance to be negative, I think he was really thinking about too many things instead of just being himself, because this guy is a star. He's a superstar, and they're paying him a lot of money, and I think that's going to help him relax once the season starts.
Couldn't agree with you more, Bill. I think that this is a guy who's a proven big-time hitter, and we certainly saw several flashes of that after he came over. But, man, what a rough position to be put in. You're moving 3,000 miles away, an unexpected trade. It wasn't like you were hearing Rafael Devers bandying about like, this guy's going to get traded. That came out of left field, figuratively, out of nowhere. And then, he's being asked to play first base. And what were the first things we started hearing about this guy? He's an attitude problem. He didn't want to play first base. He doesn't want to, so he's got that on his mind. People are bad-mouthing him. And then you talk to other teammates and say, no, man, Rafi's a great teammate. And I think that bore itself out over the course of the year. And I think you're absolutely right. With him established from day one in the Giants camp, I think you're going to see a guy who will learn first base defensively very quickly. And we already know he's a great hitter. And he did have a pretty good year offensively anyway, and he gives the Giants that power bat. So I like the move at the time, and I like it even more now that I've had time to think about it and digest what he can do to ease up the pressure on the rest of the Giants' offensive lineup.
I totally agree with her. Well, Mark, you started this whole conversation talking about the Super Bowl, so I got to get your prediction. Who you going for in the Super Bowl? Is it Seattle or New England? I got to hear from the man, the best sports director KTV you ever had. What's your thought on the Super Bowl?
I think that it's very hard for me to root for anybody in the NFC West other than the San Francisco Giants. Let's just say I've had a strong dislike for the Seahawks and the Rams. It was tough watching that game because, the NFC Championship, I didn't care who won. I told my buddy, if it was possible, I wish neither one of them could win. I'm going to pick the Seahawks to win in a little closer game than people think. They're saying it's going to be a rout, but I think the Patriots defense will really slow them down a little bit. And I am vehemently pulling for a New England upset of the Seattle Seahawks. Just based on my loyalty.
So you're telling us that we should bet on your prediction then, right, Mark? 100% correct. Bet with your brain, not your heart. I learned that the hard way a few times. But real quick, Bill, did you hear that how cocky Seattle was? That when they were down here in the final regular season game of the year, they were so confident that they would be back in a few weeks that they hid a couple of boxes of cigars in the 49ers locker room
because they were so confident they'd be back in a few weeks for the Super Bowl. So part of me respects that confidence. Yeah. They didn't jinx themselves, so there you go. So whatever.
Well, Mark, I want to thank you
though.
for your time today, buddy. It was great catching up with you. We'll do a lot more as the season goes on, but I always appreciate your time and your knowledge, and all I can do is thank you for again today, Mark.
My pleasure, Bill, and I'll talk baseball with you anytime, all day. It's all good, man. Baseball's here. I'm jealous of you out there. I went to that park a couple times last year. It's a great spot to watch baseball.
Oh, it's awesome. Awesome place. All right, Mark, now thank you for so much. I appreciate your time once again. That was Mark Ibanez on the Warm-Up Show. We're going to come back with more as we wrap it up here on the Warm-Up Show. Come on out, Sutter Health Ballpark. A lot of Giants fans are out here on a third stop for the San Francisco Giants. We'll be right back. I'm Bill Lasky. This is KNBR, the Sports Leader.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Here, Devers swings, hits a high drive, deep right field. This one is gone and into San Francisco Bay. There's the first one for Rafi Devers. His first splash home run, and it ties this game at 2.
This is the Giants Fanfest Warm-Up Show with Bill Lasky on the home of the Orange and Black. We are the Sports Leader.
All right, welcome back to the Warm-Up Show as we close out a 2-hour show today. Great stuff, great guests, and still time to come out to Sutter Health Ballpark as the event's still going on till 3 o'clock for the San Francisco Giants Fan Fest, their third stop. The fourth one will be at Oracle Park on March 14th, 12 to 4 o'clock. Of course, there's going to be alumni players out there, broadcasters, and the game against the Arizona Diamondbacks will be broadcast on the big screen. So make sure you put that in your calendar, March 14th from 12 to 4 at Oracle Park. I do want to thank my guests today, Alan Keano. Of course, he's a pitching coach with the Sacramento Rivercrats, Gregor Blanco, and Mark Ibanez, all three great guests. Great show today, and of course it was produced by my good friend Raph. I want to thank him for his time. I'll be on February 21st on the Extra Inning postgame show after the very first game against the Seattle Mariners in Arizona, so join me then. For Bill Lasky, have a great rest of the day. Get out to Sutter Health Park. Come out and see the San Francisco Giants. More coming up next right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.